On the outskirts of Delaware, Ohio, lies an observatory, which has been engaged in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence for some 70 years now. Usually, the only signs of motion in the messy computer room are of an IBM 11 computer and a line printer, quietly chirping away, line after line, transcripts of quiet radio signals coming from the heavens above. One particular day, at first, was no different from any other day in the observatory for the scientists, until a single printer started transcribing in the midnight darkness, with no one there to behold the moment, the signals from a faraway star in the constellation of Sagittarius. The next day, this sudden spike was discovered by a volunteer, Jerry Iman, who upon seeing those numbers simply circled them on the transcript and added those three magical letters, W-O-W. This was the wow signal. To this day, it remains a mystery, and the single best candidate for a transmission from an alien civilization. Despite its perfect correspondence in almost every way, there is one single thing that still questions the authenticity of it. It never repeated. Not once. Every single endeavor of ours to discover life ended with nothing but silence. This painstaking mystery was famously remarked on by Enric Fermi. Every single sign shows us that life is nothing but a chemical process. Every single of its ingredients have been found in space. Billions of planets could be in the same habitable zone as the Earth. And despite that, where is everybody? Now, we could talk about different exoplanets and the search of life outside, far, far away from our star. But in this case, I'd like to specifically focus on life inside our solar system. At first sight, this idea seems a little silly. Out of the 8 planets of the solar system, 4 are gas giants with crushing pressures and no solid ground. 1 is a dead planet so close to the sun that nights turn into a fire show or blazing ions. Our only remote possibilities between the rocky planets remain Venus and Mars. Venus is sometimes called Earth's sister planet. We are almost in the same zone of habitability, have roughly similar mass and metal composition, and both possess a magnetosphere and an atmosphere. But there's one big problem with Venus. By all accounts, the only place on our planet which it is similar to is the biblical hell. Between 1975 and 1982, 4 of the Soviet Union's Venera probes captured our only images of the Venusian surface. Those pictures revealed yellow skies and desolate landscapes that were both alien and familiar, views of a world that may have once been like Earth before experiencing catastrophic climate change. On today's Venus, those apparatuses, maybe the most hardened and protected ever produced, survived bare minutes before they were crushed by the Hell planet. This is because the average surface temperature of Venus is almost 477 degrees Celsius. Even at the poles or on the top of the highest Venusian mountains, surface temperatures and pressures are so high that with the best protective gear possible, you would have been dead within seconds, if not milliseconds. Oh, and it also rains sulfuric acid. Well, surprisingly enough, carbon dioxide, sunlight and water vapor are found in the upper clouds of Venus. Those 3 on our planet paved the way for life. If we go high enough in the clouds, pressures are about the same as those on the surface of the Earth. Although highly toxic to Earth life because of the sulfuric acids, the lower clouds of Venus are the most Earth-like extraterrestrial environment known. No organism on our planet could conveniently survive that environment and even lead a completely airborne existence, but perhaps life finds a way. But let's rather focus on planets that don't rain sulfuric acid. Amongst these, Mars is a planet that has been hypothesized to harbor life for several centuries. The search for life on Mars started way back in 1887. Among 100 other astronomers, Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli observed some peculiar features on Mars, which raised a lot of eyebrows. Straight lines stretching from the poles to the equator, and from one apparent continent to another. They were so precisely placed that there couldn't be any doubts about the origin. Intelligent species were behind those canals. 20th century American astronomer Percival Lowell even theorized that those canals could be used to carry water down from melting ice caps of Mars to its deserted towns in the equator area. An intelligent, engineering species next to our doorstep. How cool is that? Today, if you were to look at Mars, you wouldn't see a single canal. You would see nothing but a barren sand planet, without not only any engineering megaprojects, but even a sign of life at all. But what happened? Surely, entire generation of astronomers couldn't be dreaming about them. Entire book series and encyclopedias categorizing those canals were written. Did the Martian civilization just completely eradicate itself during those 80 years? Well, most scientists today believe that they were seeing nothing but optical illusions caused by the imperfections of the old telescopes. Mars, as far as we can tell, is as hostile to Earth life as it could be. But Mars wouldn't be in this video if not for one thing. Mars harbors a lot of liquid water under its surface, including entire underground lakes, and it's quite likely that the Great Canyon of Mars harbors lakes. Like Venus, this planet, in the distant past, was way more similar to Earth. If not today, it's more likely that there may have been life at least once on those dead rocks, and humanity has been actively searching for signs of it for decades now. And at least once, we've come very close to finding it. In the midst of deserted Antarctica, the dead continent of the Earth, a group of American scientists led by David McKay discovered a small, practically untouched and uninteresting meteorite. Further inspection showed beyond any reasonable doubt that this iron meteorite came from Mars, and not yesterday or 10 years earlier, but from a period of millions of years ago, when Mars potentially harbored liquid water on its surface. The interior of the meteorite hosted a very peculiar pattern, one which on Earth is seen on minerals which have been interacting with bacteria. This discovery shattered the entire world. What once was only a hypothesis was slowly becoming an undeniable reality. At the time, President of the United States, Bill Clinton, gave a now forgotten speech. We were no longer alone in the universe.
001 speaks to us across all those billions of years and millions of miles. It speaks of the possibility of life. If this discovery is confirmed, it will surely be one of the most stunning insights into our universe that science has ever uncovered. Its implications are as far-reaching and awe-inspiring as can be imagined.
But, quite unfortunately, those results turned out to be nothing but premature fuzz. Beyond any reasonable doubt, it's now apparent that those patterns have been made by natural processes not involving life. We still, fortunately or unfortunately, seem to be alone in our cosmic backyard. And while Mars missions looking for signs of life are as prevalent as ever, no signs of such life have been detected so far, at least. It may sound surprising at first, but our best candidate for a planet harboring life outside Earth and the entire universe doesn't lay in the inner solar system. It is located so far from the Sun, in fact, that the Sun appears as nothing but a slightly larger star in the night sky. The best place for life in our solar system, after our planet, is not a planet. It's Europa, the fourth largest satellite of Jupiter. There is a very strong inference, supported by many different tools, that behind the icy, dead crust of Europa lies an entire underground liquid saltwater ocean, covering the entire underground surface of it. Even a distant wisp of an oxygen atmosphere has been detected. While the distance from the Sun may seem like a problem at first, it quickly disappears when we take into account the king of the solar system, Jupiter, which creates a lot of heat by its gravitational tides. But here there are no buts. Taking into account everything we know, There doesn't seem to be any hindrance in the way of life on Europa. In fact, Europa isn't alone here. Ganymede and Callisto, other big ice moons of Jupiter, also strongly hint of an ocean underground. Of all things considered, it may appear that life may be more common on moons of giant gas planets and not rock planets similar to Earth. And here also lies the last destination of our interplanetary journey for life, Titan. Titan, Saturn's largest moon, is a very mysterious place. It has a thick atmosphere rich in organic compounds. Some of them would be considered signs of life if they were found on other planets. It has an entire liquid ocean on its surface, and in any other case, this would be the place most similar to Earth. Unfortunately though, those lakes and oceans are not made from water, but from liquid methane, and its atmosphere, while rich in compounds, is highly toxic to our local life forms. Nevertheless, Titan does raise a lot of eyebrows because, as I said, it is toxic only to our local life forms. It stretches our imagination of what if life could be a tad bit different from here. The big problem of only finding life on Earth is we only know one way life can be. It's like studying bones and only ever having a piece of your ear bone for your entire life. What can we know about what kind of life there could be, about where we come from and what symphony we sing? The truth is, no matter how hard we try to study and categorize life on our planet, it simply will never be enough. We only have one book in the library of life, perhaps the most mysterious and unique clump of chemicals in the entire universe. Life, the search for it, and especially the wow signal still raises a trembling feeling in our chests when we lay flat on our spine during sleepless nights. Why the hell didn't it repeat? It may have been the last SOS signal of a striking spaceship deep in Sagittarius constellation, the last signal for help that passed accidentally by us. It may have even been nothing but a radio error or a human signal, even though it's now less likely after decades of research. It also may have been nothing but an accidental bump of two gas molecules inside space that, though infinitely unlikely, resonated so precisely to what we expected from alien signals. But at the same time, it may have been a voice of greetings, sent to us by bright alien minds who, sitting in a dark computer room like ours, sent this message in hopes for an answer to the question we now ponder: does life exist outside here? So, anytime you're out in the wild, stargazing into the night sky, wondering if we're alone, wave. They might be stargazing in hopes of answering that question one day too.